Oi! Leave it! Sorry, my cat chose to... Get out of here. Go. You're not allowed. Sorry, the cat was misbehaving. Hello, welcome to Squishy Vision, where Alexa, Volume 0. Why aren't you charging? Swear to God, can't get the stuff these days. You charge. Nope. Everything is going wrong. Well, that's another 10 problem. Hello, welcome to Squishy Vision, where I've just finished watching episode 7 of Skeleton Crew. Well, you're misbehaving. That's what happens. You misbehave. You get in trouble. Skeleton Crew. We're gonna be in so much trouble. Like she is. She's in trouble because she's misbehaving. You're misbehaving. You're misbehaving. River, tell her off. Anyway, this show. Yeah, it did not go in the direction I thought it would go in like several different places. So obviously we followed more closely the kids last week and kind of took a step back from JOD. So we kind of picked up on them in this episode. They arrive at Al-Atin. The planet, as you can see in the background, appears to be like a toxic wasteland. So Brutus was like, well, clearly, you're lying or like you're wrong, we're gonna kill you, which I think is a bit preemptive. I mean, I get that he's being quite ruthless and not really giving JOD the time of day, and but if you're gonna hear him out this far at least, then you might as well hear him out like the full way, not just like give up at the first. I mean, well, I guess this is like the latest in a long. I don't know. I'm on two sides. So the one side, like I said, this is the latest of a long side of like false leads from JOD, then you probably would feel like this is probably another one. On the other side, if you're gonna listen to him this far, anyway, the fates, the force, whatever, apparently shines somewhat favorably on JOD because enough of the right things happen in like the last possible second for Brutus to give him another chance as the new Onyx ship arrives. Onyx Cinder, with its fancy new hull, which everyone on Twitter was absolutely adoring. And there's a really cute moment where we see the kids as they're traveling into Al-Atin through hyperspace, and they're kind of like, well, some of them are playing. Wim and Fern have a nice moment. Fern has a lovely moment with Fern. I think pays back the kindness and support that Wim's shown them the entire adventure, to be like, I know you kind of like kickstarted this whole adventure because you were a child, but we're actually kind of glad that you did, and I think that's nice because that's, whether they believe it or not, I think that's very much what Wim needed to hear. So yeah, as I've said before, if these kids were real, I would literally die for them. The actors are such a great. It's hard to do children in a very endearing manner. Like, I'm sorry, and these actors do it very well. Like, I genuinely feel for them. Hello, Johanna Elizabeth Salcedo Granados. That is a very long username. I mean, I'm perhaps not going to talk, but I mean, hello with your single letter message. So yeah, they arrive, but like every degree of ounce of optimism and hope that they're going to be home soon gets kind of erased because they're immediately captured by pirates. To the credit, they put together a plan of using the grappling hook to capture Brutus, and this is where the episode goes from whimsy pirate adventure to literal horror, because JOD finally apparently shows their true colors. I mean, I'm not quite sure how you come back from this, but Brutus, captured, defenseless, gets basically executed by JOD with point blank shot to the face. Like, that's not hugely dark by Star Wars standards. In fact, you know, Clone Wars, they even had stuff that dark. But this show, having pretty much kind of framed itself as a whimsy, fun adventure thing, that is dark. Like, that wouldn't happen. That'd be, like, surprising. Like, I'm not like, you know, oh my god, darkest thing Star Wars has ever done. Darkest thing that Disney has ever done. But when you kind of think about what kind of vibe they're going for with this show, it's a vibe, like it's a considerable vibe like change, because it just escalates from there. He executes Brutus. They capture the kids. He puts on his pirate outfit again. With his mask that we saw in the first episode, and basically takes control of the ship. And there's like this entire, like, so far it's been relatively unclear what JOD's angle has been. There's a meme about people. There's a meme on Twitter, people being like, you know, oh, I'm gonna have such a shocked face when it's finally revealed that JOD's the bad guy, even though it's pretty obvious that he's gonna be like. And it's not really obvious because it's kind of a show like this. You expect it to subvert and invert expectations, and so it could have gone in any direction. And I think, yeah, sure, I played it straight. JOD does eventually become straight, but like either way they would have gone would have been subversion. They played it so excellently in the middle that either way would have been a twist. That he was actually secretly good would have been a satisfactory twist. The fact that he was actually full evil, the satisfactory twist. I mean, still not the backstory. I mean, Jude Law has said in interviews that this episode is the episode that reveals the most about JOD, and everyone was assuming we get like flashbacks, and on Twitter everyone was like, oh, we're going to see where JOD was during Order 66. And in fact, actually, no, because we didn't get any of his backstory. We just saw apparently his true colors, that he is through and through a pirate. So yeah, they try to work out what it is about the ship that lets it pass through the barrier. I don't know why they decided to like take a small boarding party and fly the ship across. I don't know why they needed to reverse engineer it, because as it eventually becomes revealed, there's nothing special about the ship other than the fact that it is actually from the planet, and so the planet sensors recognize that it's not an enemy, so it gets to pass through. Or it's from the planet, or it's a republic. So either way, it's already accepted to go through. So that being the case, and obviously you didn't know that at the time, but then why would you try reverse engineering anyway? Why would you just fly it through? I'm not quite sure about that, other than it gives a chance for perhaps one of the most hilarious scenes of the episode, where we get a callback to the first episode, or maybe a second episode. No, first episode. Where 33 reveals that actually, because JOD is the captain of another ship, he can't be the captain of this ship, and which I'm not quite sure how that works, because I'm pretty sure pirates, even in the Star Wars universe, had a concept of fleets and ships flying under another ship's captain. Like, that's pretty much like if it's basically pirate adventure Goonies in space, I assume everything about those expectations lie. But maybe in the Star Wars universe, in this pirate code, you can only have one ship in your armada, and if you get a bigger ship, you have to let go of your previous ship. Maybe, I don't know. How does that apply to fighters? I don't know. Whatever. Maybe that a ship is like an actual like thing that you get bestowed or a status upon. Anyway, 33 is like you can't be captain of two ships. And for some reason, Wim doesn't quite get his words out fast enough. I'm not sure. I guess he's just unknown other kids do. I don't really. It's a good scene anyway. It just seems a bit like it was contrived, but I guess if you're a scared kid in a situation, your voice might get stuck in your mouth and you might stutter. Maybe if they played up the stuttering a bit more rather than just hesitation. It's fine, whatever, it's not a big issue. So then JOD claims the ship, even though he can't be captive to ships. I'm not quite sure how he could claim it, and that some people on Twitter are arguing that's the point of what happens next, but no, because 33 does kind of accept JOD as the captain. Doesn't like he's never refrained from being blunt about the situation. That being said, maybe we're understanding 33's character. Maybe he is actually a bit more deceptive and attempting to kind of push his own agenda where he can, as we might see in a second, because then Vern's like, I unclaims these and then claim the ship. And JOD's like, well, that's not how it works, and then gets literally punched out cold. And I'm not, is it a bit? Could it have been a bit less of a clunky scene? Sure. Was it a nice callback to the first episode? Absolutely. Was it hilarious? Was it entertaining? Does it give me life and a dopamine hit? Yes. And that's frankly the more important thing. So the kids escape in the Onyx Cinder, but unfortunately JOD manages to smuggle aboard. And on their way down to the planet, decapitates 33. Now, this might not necessarily mean 33 dies, but he just redeemed himself. Like 33 is the true parent of these kids in the context of the show. I mean, obviously they have their actual true parents, but not orphans. But he is their adventure father figure. The fact that within like 10 minutes of knowing them, he was prepared to like fight to protect their lives was just like adorable. And then he gets decapitated. This might not mean he's dead, because droids can typically survive that if you fix them because they're not living, but still kind of like at this point JOD just goes complete like, I'm a bad guy. There's no ambiguity, because really who he is in the dark, is how he tends to act. There's no reason for him to be cruel to the kids, I don't think, unless this was actually what he's truly like. That's the wrong side. But hey, we might get a good twist. That's something else going on. But he is like brutal with them. He makes them all cry. He tells them that they're all weak and useless and pathetic and spoiled and annoying and like all the things that would, shatter a kid's sense of any thing, really. Coming from someone who they previously respected, even if they kind of like dropped their opinions of him. He only betrayed them once, but like this is just like adding insult to injury. And then he gives them very dark. I remember these are kids. These are children who have been sheltered their entire lives, and this powerful. Oh yeah, he also draws his lightsaber. And there's some people on Twitter being like, is he using his lightsaber in a way which shows an experience? Are we meant to be? And that might very well be the case. I mean, the way he does decapitate 33 is actually fairly realistic form for how you would attack someone with a two-handed sword, where you generally would just basically do a small sweep across. You don't need to do anything fancy. You basically go for the effective cut. That is a realistic cut across for a real sword. But obviously in the Star Wars context, you tend to expect more. They tend to portray it that if you're a Jedi, you use a lightsaber in a very much of kind of a much more fluid, light movement, and they tend to depict people who aren't experienced with lightsabers swing them around like the heavy, unwieldy objects. So in the language of Star Wars, that's what seems to suggest that. It might not be the case. It might be something that people picked up on falsely. It could also be the case. It might be something deeper here. I do believe JOD is a Force user. I never believed he was a Jedi. So I think it's realistic that he might never have held a lightsaber before. Actually, I don't think it would be that like wild or out there. But yeah, he like waves his lightsaber in front of the kids, and like if you in front of the kids, and is like if you like try to undermine me, if you speak up, if you annoy me, I will literally slowly kill your parents and your family. And that's a pretty brutal threat to give. And yeah, like his villainy is dark. So yeah, the ship lands. The droids and we haven't seen supervisors yet, so the droids seem to be in charge of everything, running on this autopilot. Assume that because he's arrived in the emissary ship, he must be the emissary, and basically take him immediately down to the mint. And it's this great scene where one of the vaults open. Also, like, this planet's entirely like mints, because the vault itself is massive, and apparently that one vault is just one of 1,000. Like, I was expecting in the degrees of hundreds, but no, like thousands of them. Anyway, so yeah, he sees the vaults full of coins, sits down, kneels down next to a pile of Republic credits, and breaks down in euphoric sobbing. And I'm like, that's the most raw, real pirate thing to do. Excellent. Jude Law is doing a fantastic job in this show. Bravo. Somehow, the parents manage to also get their way down. It's not actually revealed this episode. They have a touching reunion, and then that's abruptly stopped by the most like traumatic way the episode could possibly choose to end. Actually, no, it could be more traumatic, but they stop with JOD standing in frame, lighting his lightsaber in what is basically a match cut of this last shot we see before Anakin slaughters the younglings, and that is obviously deliberate. This is Star Wars. It makes deliberate references to other shows. You can tell it makes a deliberate reference to itself. So yeah, I'm not excited for next week. I am terrified for next week and where the show is going to go. But yeah, you can probably tell by my enthusiasm compared to, like, say, my reactions to the Lower Decks or Bad Batch, how much I am, like, invested in this show. And how, like, it's really well made. Like, it's not playing it safe, but it's playing it safe in Acolyte, and I do think shows shouldn't have to play it safe. I think they should take risks, and I would always appreciate shows like Acolyte producing completely different. But at least this show does it safe in a way which feels fresh, and it lands it. It consistently nails the landing of what the show is meant to be. And like I at no point am I like, huh? Or wait, what? In a way which isn't satisfying. Like, I'm not saying like mystery shows. Mystery shows you're meant to be like, but you're in a very satisfactory way. Like oh, your cog is spinning. Where is it going? Where? If you're just lost completely, it's not satisfactory. There's the mysteries, but the mysteries aren't bogging down the plot. We're not held back. Like, we don't need to know. I'm sure it will be revealed who supervisor is, and there's a very strong theory that it is probably the original big pirate person. But even if it's not, like, that, who it is isn't pulling the plot back, and that's how you do these kind of mysteries. So yeah, so good. It's a shame that I was just thinking earlier before I put this episode on that after this episode there's only one episode left. Like, what? This show needs long. This show could have literally done so much more. Like, I wasn't like rushing for it to end. So yeah. Hopefully it sticks a landing, and it will go down as perhaps one of the best things that Star Wars has ever made. So thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna maybe play a little bit of Chivalry 2, but not stream, just like myself for like 10 minutes. And then I need to go to bed because I need to not be late for work. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all Saturday maybe. Anyway, goodbye.